Our school was built over a graveyard. We found out too late. It all began when we were restoring an old building in our school. It had been built in 1928 and was closed off to students because it had become unsafe due to age and disrepair. However, after more than 30 years of vacancy, the city decided to reopen the building for use again. That's how I and many other students ended up spending most of our high school days there. But some strange things happen there, especially at night. Some say that this place is haunted. And then one day I found something that made me think they might be right. It was an ordinary school day, but during lunch break, my friends and I decided to explore the whole area of the school. Of course, we did not go into the new part of the school. No one ever went there except the janitors. The new part of the school was never finished. It was just a bunch of empty rooms with graffiti and litter. But then one of my friends shouted, "Hey, let's take a look in there." Well, why not? We thought no one would notice if we just looked around. When we opened the door, we saw two figures inside. They turned their heads and we saw two surprised faces. "Oh, hey," they said. "Sorry, we didn't know you were in there." "No problem," I said. "We won't tell anyone if you don't." We all started laughing and left the room. From that day on, we called that room the haunted room. We wondered who the ghost was and why he was in that room. One day in class, I raised my hand. "Miss, can we have a look at the attic in the old building? We heard there are some pretty scary things up there." The teacher shook her head. "I'm sorry, but the attic is off limits to students. There's nothing to see up there anyway." But then one of my classmates piped up, "Come on, miss, please ask permission." "Please, please, please." She agreed and wrote something on the board. "If you finish your project earlier, you can go to the attic during lunchtime tomorrow." We were so happy. The bell rang and soon it was lunchtime the next day. We ran to the old building. One of my classmates stopped us. "Wait, where's the key?" "Oh, silly me, I forgot it at home." We waited another 10 minutes until someone came back with the key. We opened the creaking door and went inside. The air was musty and it smelled like old wood. "This looks like fun," someone said and started climbing the stairs. At the top of the stairs was a door with a big metal lock. We heard the key turning and then the door slowly opened. We gasped. In front of us was a pitch black room. Someone turned on their flashlight and illuminated a wall with strange symbols painted on it. "What do these signs mean?" someone asked. No one knew. We shone our flashlights around the room and realized there were similar symbols everywhere. We continued our exploration and found an old wooden box in the corner. It was locked, but we managed to break it open. Inside was a book with pages that fell out immediately. It was filled with strange texts and drawings. I opened it to a random page and read, "A soul is trapped here and needs help." I shuddered. Could this be the ghost's diary? We continued looking around and discovered a small opening covered by a loose floorboard. "Hey, what's that?" someone whispered. We pushed the board up and down and it suddenly gave way. We carefully climbed through the hole and found ourselves in a narrow tunnel. "Let's split up," someone said. "We'll find the exit faster that way." And so we went our separate ways. After about 10 minutes, I finally found the end of the tunnel. I crawled through a small opening and found myself in a graveyard. I got up and saw rows upon rows of gray tombstones. A cold wind blew over me and made me shiver. I walked between the graves and read the inscriptions. The oldest was from 1898. I went back to the tunnel and called my friends. They came crawling out and we looked around to see if we could find the entrance to the attic again, but we couldn't see any opening. Then we noticed a bush growing over the loose floorboard. We pushed it away and found the opening again. We went back into the dusty room. Outside, the bell rang, meaning we only had 5 minutes to get back to class before we were marked late. But we couldn't leave. The door was locked. "Don't panic," someone said. "One of you guys can climb out of the window and open the door from the outside, but when we went to the window, we saw a sheer drop onto concrete. It was about 10 feet. That's too high, I said. I can't climb down from there. And we started to panic. Then someone said, well, someone has to do it. Suddenly, one of my classmates volunteered. I'll do it. He climbed onto the windowsill. Be careful, we called after him. He nodded and jumped. All eyes were on him as he slowly climbed down the wall. But just as he was about to reach the ground, his foot slipped and he tumbled down. Help, he cried. We screamed and ran to the window. He was lying still on the ground. We immediately ran downstairs and outside. My classmate lay motionless on the ground. We rushed over to him, but he was breathing. Quick, someone call an ambulance, someone said. I checked his pulse and asked, is he alive? Yeah, but barely, I replied. The ambulance arrived and took him away. Later, we learned that he had broken both legs and several ribs. But luckily, he survived. We were all very shaken and worried about our friend, so we didn't tell anyone about the graveyard. We were afraid someone would want to turn the discovery into a big event and close off the old building again. Sometime later, our classmate returned to school, but he too kept quiet about the incident. Years passed, and one day I decided to take a walk around the school grounds. I wanted to see how my old school had changed over the years. I hadn't been back since I graduated. When I approached the school, I saw that it had changed a lot. The old building had been torn down and a brand new school stood in its place. I couldn't believe my eyes. Who would have thought that this shiny new building was hiding such a dark secret? What secrets are hidden behind the walls of your school? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.